Hi, I'm Louise Bolton, a clinical psychologist practicing from the couch in Rivonia. I would like to speak to you briefly about the worldwide corona pandemic and homeschooling, because homeschooling has been a topic that's been coming up quite often. A lot of people have been speaking about this and they seem to be experiencing a lot of pressure with regard to it. I'm also a mom. I have a 12-year-old and an almost 9-year-old, and I'm also experiencing the frustrations of trying to homeschool and work and trying to have it all together. I think sometimes we forget that this is actually a very stressful time for most. There's a lot of real concern. People are concerned about health. They're concerned about economic situations. They're concerned about their lives having changed completely from what it used to be and having to find their way in a whole new different way of living. Yet, we often worry so much about things like whether homeschooling is on track that we allow it to create a lot of extra stress for us. It is so much more important right now that you and your children, you and your family are okay, rather than focusing solely on whether you're meticulously getting through the school's extracurricular program. Having said that, I know these things are important and one cannot let it go completely. It would make sense to have certain things in place, like having a schedule for your children to work from, a schedule that's routine for every day, trying to stick to that routine so that they know what is expected, so that it looks similar on a daily basis. Getting up at the same time, going to bed at the same time, having breaks at similar times during the day, going through the program with them in the beginning of the day so that they know what is expected of them, so that they know when the contact times are, that they need to check in with their classes, that they know exactly what they need to have completed by the end of the day, and to reward every day's little successful completions, so that doing the right things and being disciplined and sitting down gets reinforced. Sometimes it's really hard for children to sit down and work throughout the day in an environment such as home, where the structure is just not as meticulous as it would be at school. So sitting down in your room with your toys around you and your dog that wants to have a little pat, and maybe knowing that there's something nice in the fridge that they want to get around to, that can also sometimes be hard. So remember, if you have a little one that's used to using medication for concentration, keep that going, because being at home is going to be filled with temptations for us as well as for them. During this time, it is important to also look at your own demeanor and kind of whether you are portraying this as a very anxious time, or whether you have a sense of calm. And maybe that's a big ask, because maybe you are feeling anxious and you're not feeling calm. But it's important to realize that your kids will look to you to see whether they should be scared or not. I am not suggesting that you be a perfect parent. There's no such thing. I'm just encouraging you to check where your children are at emotionally as well. This might be a time for them that's frustrating because they don't get to see their friends and they don't get to go out much. Most of them get to go out less than we do because they don't do grocery shopping and run errands. They might be disappointed at not being able to play matches and do all the fun things that they would normally get to do. So please don't try to be a perfect homeschooling teacher. That is a very temporary thing. Try and keep schedules together, try and get through the work, try and be compassionate with yourself and have empathy for your children, and remember that this is a temporary situation and that you will probably remember this for years to come, you and your children alike, and you might even remember it as a time in your life where you got to spend so much more time together than you normally get to have, and that there were special times to that. So focus on some free play, make sure to spend some time together, to have some laughs, to enjoy some of what you do, and to not make this all about trying to squeeze in all of the things that need to get done. I know people often talk about getting so many different little videos and clips saying this is the ballet routine and this is the chess routine and this is what you need to do for work and this is how you need to keep up this and that. Within all of that, you need to find a sense of normality, and you need to kind of feel or okay, and it is normal to be overwhelmed. So don't take everything on. Be kind to yourself, be good to your children. Remember that this time might be really difficult for them too, just as it is for you, and that it can be a special bonding time, and it need not be a difficult time of trying to fit into every square of the day, everything that you would normally want to pack in there, but you are expected to be the teacher and the coach and the parent and every other role that other people might possibly play in their lives normally. That's it from me.